Well, you got to start with the granddaddy of them all. That would be Nvidia, right? Which is a huge enabler of this AI revolution because they're making the chips.
Welcome to AI Factor, coming to you from the NASDAQ market site. We're here with David Dietze, Senior Portfolio Strategist at Peapack Private Wealth Management, about how AI has driven the stock market boom in 2024 and what to expect in 2025. Thanks for being here, David.
A pleasure. Good to see you.
When it comes to the stock market, what have been the companies and industries that have benefited the most from the AI boom?
Well, you got to start with the granddaddy of them all. That would be Nvidia, right?
Of course.
Which is a huge enabler of this AI revolution because they're making the AI chips that are powering applications worldwide. So they're the leading player. And you've got your traditional mega cap tech stocks, which have very important divisions working as hard as possible to get up to speed with AI.
Are there any companies or sectors that you believe are undervalued that are poised for growth in 2025?
Within AI?
Yes.
So, I divide the AI world into three buckets. You got the enablers. Those are the companies like Nvidia, of course, producing the chips. Without them, nothing starts. The problem, of course, there is that they're very widely known. I mean, Nvidia is trading about 50 times earnings, got about $3.5 trillion market cap. There's nothing undiscovered there. Another bucket I call the innovators. And that's where I think perhaps some of the biggest profits could be made. Now, what are the innovators? The innovators are those taking this AI raw power and coming up with ways to do things that we never thought of before. Reddit is talking about changing their format of questions and answers into like an AI-powered Reddit answers, where you get a lot more information a lot more quickly on what you seek to know. And then finally, I would look at the beneficiaries. Now, who are the beneficiaries? Those are the regular companies who just now are figuring out how AI can make their job more efficient. What companies could fall in those buckets? Media, for example. All sorts of ways to create text, to create productions could be enhanced with AI, and even financial institutions. I mean, think of when you go on a website, if there's some sort of AI chatbot that automatically thought about what you want to know before you even typed it in.
Right. Investors have already poured billions of dollars into AI firms. When do you think investors are going to start demanding to see a return on investment on these?
That's going to be such a great theme for 2025 because we've seen some companies making a lot of money because your Microsofts, your Amazons, your Alphabets, they've been buying all these chips, spending a lot of money. But Wall Street's the type of place where it's like, show me the money like yesterday.
Right.
How are you going to make money with all these investments? These investments and capital expenditures are great, but when does the cash flow start coming in? And right now, many AI companies have gotten a pass on that. But I think increasingly, Wall Street's going to say, no, we've seen the capital expenditures, you got the AI label, but now we want to see the cash flows coming in from that. And that's what we're going to be watching so carefully next year.
The Magnificent Seven has driven a lot of the big returns we've seen in the S&P 500 and other major indices this year. Can we expect that to continue into next year?
Well, on the one hand, their growth is phenomenal. When you look at who are going to be the big earnings drivers in 2025, the Mag 7 is right up there. The problem is that's not a secret to Wall Street. That's why you asked me the question. They're trading about 33 times earnings when the overall market's still trading a very frothy valuation, about 23 times earnings. And so people already have great expectations. So even if they just meet those expectations, investors may not make a lot of money. And so that's a cautionary tale here. You usually make money on Wall Street knowing something that not everybody knows. And right now, the Magnificent Seven are magnificent and they're priced that way.
Right. And what are the risks to this sort of extreme level of market concentration we're seeing with these top companies?
Well, the problem is if all of a sudden someone says, AI is an emperor that doesn't really have any clothes. I mean, I think we touched on this earlier in the conversation. If all of a sudden companies find difficulty in getting people to pay for the AI. So for example, we were just doing some research this morning which showed that consumers are actually adopting AI faster than many businesses. Why? Consumers aren't paying anything. If you go on to a search on Google, you're going to get a little AI from their Gemini right at the top. But are you paying anything for that? Are they making any more money? Are advertisers paying more? That is kind of not clear. While businesses who are going to have to pay up to have that feature are slower adopters so far.
AI has driven gains across sectors. Do you expect that momentum to continue, or do you think we're going to see a correction, and when?
Well, certainly at some point we're going to see a correction. We've seen this market surge following the Trump election, following inflation starting to soften, interest rates come down. So we're right on tippy toes. So I think we're going to see some sort of correction. Now, I think the one nice thing about the AI stocks is they're not dependent on the level of interest rates. They're not dependent on how the Main Street is doing. They're riding a secular tailwind of extreme innovation that could plow right through that. Nevertheless, no sector operates in a silo or a vacuum. If everything else around them is struggling, they're going to struggle a little bit too.
Are there any non-tech sectors that you're looking at that you think will be disrupted or boosted by AI next year?
Now, I happen to be an energy fan here. An analyst the other day was saying, actually, energy could be an AI beneficiary. And I'm scratching my head and said, well, how does that work? But, actually, one feature about AI and the data centers it powers, they gobble up energy. So we're going to need more energy. Now, basically, we're going to need electricity, and we'd all like to be using renewable and greener forms of electricity. The fact of the matter is their demands may be so extreme that they're going to use any electricity available. Most of the electricity is generated by natural gas. Natural gas, of course, is developed by the energy companies, which are trading at some of the lowest valuations in the market. So that might be actually an undervalued area that could be an AI beneficiary.
Who do you think are going to be the big winners and losers in 2025 when it comes to AI and the stock market?
Well, you never want to bet against Nvidia, but as we noted, they're trading at such a great valuation that I'd be a little cautious. I kind of like Amazon. Amazon is developing their own AI chips, which I think gives them a big edge. So they could use their own chips to power their own applications in the cloud and so forth. I know Alphabet has either started using it or are thinking about using their chips, as is Apple, so they could actually be selling them in competition with Nvidia. And of course, wouldn't AI be a great, kind of consumer guide that could be used for their e-commerce platform? You go on to Amazon to buy something, and all of a sudden, AI develops what you want before you even start punching in any letters.
Great. Thank you so much for being here, David.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching. I'm Rocio Fabro for Quartz. Stick with QZ.com for more.